Hello and welcome to the channel. Today we're going to answer a very simple question. Why fountain pens? But is the answer really that simple? Let's find out together. Why fountain pens? If you're a person that sees writing as a pursuit unto itself, and not just a perfunctory activity that passes without much thought, if you relish the beauty of a line and marvel at the nib that is shaping it, and the gentle movements of your hand as you craft each line into letters, into words, into sentences, then you may be passionate about fountain pens. If you are orchestrating this marvelous collection of loops, ovals, dots, dashes, lines, so many wonderful lines, and you marvel at the control of them like Prospero in the middle of his tempest, you with your pens, each tool, each nib. A broad nib for a thick, wet, juicy line, lying boldly on the page, shimmering in the light, settling in a joyous hue of saturated color. Or an extra fine nib, wispy, lines of gossamer fibers, a neural network of loops, hoops, and ovals, suggesting color in the faintest way, seemingly ephemeral, but suspended there. Perhaps your mood shifts to a cursive nib. This offers more of an accent to writing, a circular thin to wide character that is unleashed as your writing flows in marvelous slanting cadences, and the overall effect looks vaguely antique, rooted in older writing styles. Some bold moments you unleash a stub nib with that confident downstroke, thicker than a double line, but then your rising side stroke is a hair's breadth that cuts across the page in a slender strand, linking the fat to thin lines in a visual I am. Perhaps you are aware that this sort of nib traces its way from medieval writing tools and their flat-bottomed quills that a scribe took great care crafting to its exacting specifications. Many nibs were first crafted this way. So many variations, so many brushes to choose to affect the line, to bend, twist, and flex, wide to impossibly thin, equating to sound in a dynamic symphony of soft to hard, loud to the most intimate whisper. This may pass completely unnoticed by most people. Not everyone examines the shape of a word, looking for subtle hints as to its creator, their choice of pen, ink, nib shape, and what that says about them and its overall beauty. You may be wondering by now about some pens that may give you the same extraordinary writing experience. Well, there are many. And this depends on your personal preferences, but here are a few that stand out to me. The TWSBI Eco with his wonderfully stubbed nib, confidently troweling a wide line across the page in dramatic plunges of ink and slight upstrokes, imbuing your writing with presence and personality. Or take the Mont Blanc Egyptomania. Even beyond the beauty of this pen and its Egyptian revival styling, there is a wonderfully soft nib embossed with its sacred scarab that gives such a joyful and pleasant writing experience that you might be transported back to the 1920s, when nibs like this were far more common. Staying with Mont Blanc is its extraordinary 146, with its calligraphy nib, with a firm flex and its undulation from a wide to wispy line, depending on pressure. I have had a complicated relationship with this pen, making it even more enjoyable when it excels at what it does best: classic calligraphy. The Pineider La Grande Bellezza full metal jacket in red, with its quill nib, is a very unique writing experience. Although it does not offer very much line variation, the experience of writing with this pen is transcendent. Soft, cushioning, forgiving, a floating brush-like feel as you paint your words on the page in glorious shimmering pools of ink. Let's now turn our attention to paper in all of its wonderful tactile satisfaction, its grain in all of its variations, transmitting through the smallest vibrations of a nib as it slides across the page on a lubricating cushion of ink. Thick papers feel fine and sturdy and eternal, inscribed with love, invitations, treaties, events, and ideas of great relevance and permanence, enshrined on a stiffened page. Thinner papers for letters, for notes, for ephemera, and so many weights and finishes in between, some as slick as an ice rink, others cottony and absorbent, sucking ink greedily into them and sometimes feathering like the strands of mycelium. Sometimes paper seems to defy you with its pureness, with its suspension of silence, with nary a word yet written. It is poised, liminal, awaiting receiving the words it was crafted for, yet remaining so undisturbed that it seems almost wrong to touch the gentle curving end of a nib to it, to trace some contrasting color onto its pale visage, its lovely unbroken sameness. Sometimes it is easier when lines are already there. At least then, someone has traced some color across it before you. I often write in these amazing journals, handcrafted by Bottega Obscura. These feature old world style bindings and wonderful medieval embellishments that make your writing feel permanent and worthy of the most refined shelves. I marvel each time I handle them, amazed at their craftsmanship, their beauty, and their allusion to ancient codexes. For the channel, you will often see me writing in my favorite notepaper from Clairefontaine, Rhodia, and my beloved Ayush paper that is 100 grams per square meter. Each of them hold the ink perfectly, helping to keep my lines defined and my inks drying in a full expression of color, shade, and depth. Let's speak about color. Inks are an expression, an explosion of color, nearly limitless hues, some so faint that they are lost in minimal contrast, others bold and boisterous in supersaturation, drunk in color, screaming in colors, and some are whispers, some staid, some traditional, some resembling water, leaves, or earth, others burning like fire, or the sun as it melts into the horizon, first in crimsons and then simmering golds. Different people register the associations of color differently, filtered through cultural and personal lenses, Anthropologists have postulated that blue is the last color that people have learned to categorize almost universally across world communities. And yet blue is one of the most popular colors for ink. There are so many choices of ink, but some that I've enjoyed consistently are the intensely visceral and always usable oxblood from Diamine, the shimmering masterpiece of Moonview by Krishna, Caroube de Chypre by Gerban, in all of its glorious gold glistening over a brown base, and my everyday ink, Eclat de Saphir, also by Gerban, in its super saturated sapphire. What your writing says is a combination of all of this, and it's probably dynamic, ever-changing. The choices are all yours. The control is yours. And you may project your personality through whatever means you wish, with the taming of a line, the choice of its hue, and the selection of paper it is placed upon. The choices, like your capacity for beauty, are limitless. Whatever you choose and use for yourself, you can also be sure of one thing. If I see it, I will notice. I will appreciate all the thought, passion, and devotion that you put into it. And although you express yourself as a personal matter, and anyone else noticing is just an enhancement to you, it's nice to know that your messages were received, and nice to know that it draws us closer in this wonderful alchemic hobby of ours. And since writing is permanent, who knows who else will see it? As all your missives, the leaves of your journals, are all dispersed and passed on like little treasures throughout the years. The amazing thing about writing is that the conversation never truly ends. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you recognize some of yourself in all the beauty and obsessiveness of this wonderful hobby of ours. Now, if you've watched this video to this point and you haven't subscribed, please consider it. After all, you must be passionate about fountain pens. Share it with us. Also, membership is available. Come on behind the curtain and see what's going on back there. We have a lot of fun with blooper reels, with member-only videos, and lots of other things. I'd love to have you. So I release new videos each week, and I have a live pen show Tuesday nights at 8 Eastern Standard Time. So I promise we will see each other very soon, further up the road. So take care.